Hi, Howard. Here's the demo of Reaper, of using Band in a Box with Reaper. The only thing I wanted to show you in Band in a Box was how I render Band in a Box to WAV files. So I click the WAV icon right here, and what I do, this is the way it will look. What I do is I click these two boxes here, one WAV file per track and a normalize. So I'll get separate instruments on each track, and I'll have volume levels, a little higher volume levels, easier to work with. You could normalize them also in Reaper if you wanted, but I like to normalize it here because it keeps the relative balance of the tracks the same, so the mix will sound the same in Reaper as it does in Band in the Box before you start moving any of the volume sliders for the individual tracks. So make sure you have a path that you want here, and remember that path because you're going to need to navigate to that spot once you're in Reaper, and you just click this button, Direct Render Save WAV File. I've already done it. It takes about a minute or so on my computer, but I already did it to save some time, so I'm going to cancel, and I'm going to go over to Reaper. I've opened a Reaper. This is what a new Reaper file will look like. First thing you want to do is save projects as. I already did that. I'm calling it Howard's demo. Just click save. Well, it doesn't matter. So that's the start, and now I want to bring in those Band in a Box files. So if you go under View, the drop-down window here, you'll see Media Explorer right there. If you select Media Explorer, this is where you can search for your files. So let me show you. If I had to navigate, it would be My Documents. I have it in My Music. I have Band in a Box Songs, and then within my Band in a Box folder, I created a track export folder. And there's the files for the song Topsy, which is the one I'm working with. And you can see the individual tracks here. And if you click one of these tracks just once, you can hear that track down here in this little pane. It has a little navigation right here, so you can listen to any one of those tracks. So the way I get these files up into tracks in my track pane is one of two ways. Here's the drum track. I can just drag it up there and see it created a track by just dragging it. Or I can double click it and it will create a track also. Double click, there's the guitar, double click. See, I can undo that. What happened was it started that track at the end of the previous tracks, and that's not where I want it. So I'm going to unclick. I'm going to undo it with a Control-Z. You need to rewind it back to the beginning so that when you double click it, it will set it at the beginning. So I'm going to, here's the navigation bar right here for Reaper. And so that's what I just wanted. Strings as a soloist. I just wanted the drums, bass, guitar, and piano. So I'll go back to my mixer pane. See these little tabs here. There's Explorer. There's Mixer. I won't be using Explorer again for this project, so perhaps I'll just delete it. So there's the mixer pane. There's the tracks I created. You can click anywhere here to move your cursor to where the playback will start. So I'll start it here. So there's all the tracks together, sounding together. And notice how here's the bass. It's not lining up with the beats. And the reason is because Reaper's default is 120 beats per minute. In that song, I was doing it 140 beats per minute. So if you double click in here, backspace through it, I'm going to type in 140. Enter, and see how it's all lined up right now. You can see the beat, and you can, if you really want to check, you can go off to near the end and see if it's still lining up. So you can see it's still lining up. So that's handy to have it line up like that, especially if you're going to add any MIDI. I'm going to right click up here and I'm going to insert a marker. Just show you how to do that. Oh, let me cancel. Doesn't seem like it's right on the beat. It should be there. I'm going to right click, insert marker. I'm going to call it intro. And there's that marker. I'll put a bunch of markers throughout this song just so I can see where I'm at. You know, like the A, B, A is the form here. So I'll be having A, B, A's and then A2, A onward so that I can navigate and find spots in this track. The next thing I want to do is I want to group these 4 tracks, the Band in a Box tracks, into a group. So the way I'll do that is I'll create a new track, and this will be my Band in a Box group. I'll drag it up to the top here. And I'm going to take each one of these tracks, and if you click and drag, see that blue bar? If you drag it high enough, it will indent, and that means that you're now sending it to that top track. And I'm going to do that with each one of these Band in a Box tracks, and I'll show you why in just a second. So now I'm going to name the tracks. This is the group. I'll double click in here to name it. I'm going to call it Band in a Box Group. And this is the piano. So let's call that piano. And okay, here is the guitar. And here is the bass. Double click in there, type bass. And here are the drums. And I like to have drums, bass up top. So there we go. And the next thing I want to do, and here's I'll scroll down with this bar here. I want to add the guitar tracks. So let's call this guitar 1. And I want to add another guitar track. Going to have a lead and rhythm guitar. I'm going to replace the Band in a Box guitar with my own rhythm guitar. And I like to have the guitars at the very top, so I'll slide that up to the top. There's guitar 1, guitar 2, right there. And then I'm going to create a group for the guitars too. So we'll call this guitar group. Oops. Enter. And I'm going to drag that up to the top, very top. And I'm going to put these guitars into, click drag, look for the indentation, into that group. And let me show you how to record. This is the arm the track button. See, it's here too. Either way, so when I click this, it will also light that up. Or if I click down here, it will light that up. And you can see it's showing my levels from my microphone. And it's ready to record right now. The only thing for this video, the way the video software works, I had to feed Reaper back into my mixer. So I'm going to have to solo this when I record it, or it's going to record all the Band in a Box tracks. But here's the transport bar. You just click this button to record, and now I'm recording. And you can see my voice, the waves being created from my voice. Stop that. Save all, playback, forward, and now I'm recording. And you can see my voice, the waves being created from my voice. So there's how you record. I'm going to delete this. I'm just going to click in the pane and click delete on my keyboard. And I'm ready to go. I think, I told you I'm going to unsolo this. Here's solo and mute. And I'm going to show you why I have groups. So if we go back to the Band in a Box group, and say I've played around with the balances here, like maybe I wanted a little less piano, a little less guitar, maybe maybe I wanted a little more drums. Of course, I would be doing this while I was listening. And that's the mix I want. And I've recorded my guitars, and I've got them balanced, but the band in a box is a little bit too loud relative to the guitars, and maybe you have a whole bunch of other tracks, and you don't want to readjust each slider on each track. So instead of that, you can adjust the group. So I still have the same relative mix of my band in a box tracks. I just made them all quieter or louder, or whatever you want to, quieter or louder, whatever you want to do. And so that's the reason I will group these tracks the way I did. It just makes it a little easier, especially when you have a ton of tracks. I might have an instrument group, a group of vocals. Say you had some vocals in harmony. So I create all these groups just to make the mixing a little bit easier. So I think I've covered everything. I'm going to do another video after I record these guitar tracks where I'll show you how I do the mixing and how I add some effects. So there you go. That's the basic setup I use for when I'm doing recording with Band in a Box.